What is up, all you beautiful ladies and gentlemen? Man, last podcast was one of the best things we've ever had. The comments on that one, thank you all so much. We're going to read our favorite comments. Make sure to leave one down below. And Hunter, you look a bit different today.
You don't look that much different, but...
Does anyone see my mustache is the giant question. But again, huge thanks to all of you guys watching who leave comments. It really helps us out. The one I saw, I hope it's not the one you have. Jake low-key looks like Trevor Wallace's little stepbrother.
Oh, good. Not the one I had.
Okay.
Trevor Wallace from Clemson, by the way.
Your alma mater,
yeah.
And congrats to Trevor, by the way. At the point of us recording, NFL draft was last night.
Yeah,
so,
similar necks is what people like to say a lot.
I think they mean the facial structure, but you're
So then the other comment I had was from VTYT. It said, Jake should get a beard. So, Jake, why don't you get a beard?
I've been trying that since like the 8th grade. Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys all enjoy. Ready for some crazy topics?
Let's get into it.
Let's get angry, folks. And the first story we want to talk about in today's podcast is one we chose for the podcast. Probably not going to be doing this as a main video, but something I really wanted to address. That being a seemingly baseless accusation brought to us by SunnyV2, very well-known YouTuber, does a lot of great work on his channel, a lot of great videos. A recent one called The Dark Side of Ninja, and it goes on a pretty extensive rant, I would say, about the hypocrisy of some statements or some clips or things that Ninja has done in his past. That's not my problem with the video. The problem comes at the very end of this video, in case you guys have not seen it, where SunnyV2 seems to hint and seems to me to accuse Ninja of potentially being on a substance, which he names as Adderall, and that being the reason for his deterioration in his physique or his physical appearance, which some people have taken notice of. But he goes on and for 2 minutes talks about how Ninja may be on Adderall to keep up with his Valorant performance as a pro player, to which kind of just rubbed me the wrong way. It was very crazy. And again, if you guys want to check out the video, my problem with the video is not the first 10 minutes. It comes in the last 2, where he's just saying a lot of things that, to me, seemed so out of pocket.
I agree.
It was, I don't know, it was really weird to hear.
I'll agree. He says a lot of stuff like, oh, Ninja's got these skeletons in the closet, and he's just trying to keep up, this, that, and the other. And it definitely feels like really uncomfortable that he is, and I mean, this sounds super cheesy, but like that he's judging someone that he doesn't know. He doesn't know the space. He's not involved in the space really. And he's just coming in and saying, oh, this Ninja guy, like, he looks bad. He looks like he must be on drugs. Like, he has to be doing this. And it's like, well, Ninja is one of the, top performing streamers in the game, right? He has some of the most attention and some of the most criticism on him of all time. And so he's going to be stressed out, first of all. Second of all, like, I think it's important to acknowledge that he had some family stuff going on too. So like, he's stressed out from that too. Like, there's stuff behind the scenes that's going on that you don't know about. And so coming in and just saying, hey, this guy must be on drugs because he looks bad, it's like, man, that's none of your business.
And there's a lot of things said in that video, but please go watch it all the way through for your own opinion on this, because it's just something that riled me up. A baseless thing that didn't need to be included in that video. It wasn't really a part of the subject, that being the dark side of Ninja was based on a lot of his hypocrisies. And then you spend the last 2 minutes, and he's also said things like Ninja was a top Fortnite player or a top Fortnite pro, which is not true. He was very good, and the reason why he was successful at Fortnite was not because of his success as a pro. It was his success as being an entertainer in the Fortnite space, to which your point, when you come down from being the biggest streamer of all time in that current era, the amount of stress and hate and turmoil and things that he deals with both on screen and behind the scenes that we don't know about, to solely say his physical appearance, and yes, he has certainly, there's no denying he has gotten even skinnier, but it's not for you to say that it's because he's trying to keep up with the level competitive field in Valorant. He's not trying to be a Valorant pro. Yes, he has his own team. I don't think a lot of people out there would even say he's trying to be a pro. He's simply playing a lot of League of Legends. Right. He's enjoying Valorant, made a little team as a side hobby as well. It just seems crazy to me to look at someone who might be undergoing some very, very serious things, and you would say that physical appearance is because of Adderall. I mean, that's a crazy thing to throw out there in a sphere, and I'm surprised more people aren't talking about it. So what do you guys think about this? It just kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Agreed.
But we'll see what happens for the future, and best of luck to Ninja going forward as well. It seems that his Valorant success has taken a bit of a side piece to his hustle in League of Legends, which we've actually covered and seen a lot of rageful moments that some people enjoy and some people don't. So, yeah, anyway, next story. And another big League of Legends story. Last week you covered the 38 separate pros, mostly, in the Asian space, LPL and LDL, accused of match fixing, actually found guilty. That was gigantic. Another one coming out this past week, which had several community members responding about that being solidified from League of Legends. Scamming players, it seems to be too much of a frequency here in esports.
It always comes back, and I mean, it was crazy to see. I mean, at least to me, it was crazy to see so many people actually speaking out about it and like commenting, because we had all the big names. I mean, Pokey commented on it, which was kind of out of left field, but a lot of people caring about this amateur team that ended up starting up at the end of last year, hired players. I think the guy actually bought the name from someone else, like bought the organization, and then hired players, staff, and did not pay them for a few months. And eventually they brought it up, and they were like, hey, can you at least pay these two people because like they need it? And he still didn't do that. Then he put out a tweet longer and was like, hey, we're here to stay. Like, we're not going anywhere, even though, you know, Riot had to step in and give their own pretty much like, hey, get out of the league type deal. They're like, hey, as long as this guy, Oddity is his name, is involved in the team, then your team is not allowed in the league anymore. And so completely kicked out, but he says they're here to stay. Their Apex team also came forward with the same exact thing of like, hey, we haven't been paid either, and like this wasn't happening. And then another guy came forward and was like, wait a second, this entire LLC has been disbanded since, you know, the beginning of the year, so it didn't even exist, and they like filed as bankrupt, and they don't have any money no matter what he says.
And this is something that is so frequent in the space. A lot of questions. I mean, there was even Double Lift questioning back in March, why are these people still playing for a team that is not paying them? Right. To which a lot of responses, yeah, I mean, they were going off of promises, which happens all the time, especially in a scene like this where it's an amateur team. Okay, you are hoping that there is some good faith in that owner or this person you are talking about to eventually, maybe he will live up to his promises, and I'm going to trust him. A lot of times people trust the wrong people. We actually had this just a few weeks ago in the Valorant space. There was a team, a very competitive team in the Latin American Valorant space, who was going on months of not being paid. Their housing was paid for 1 month, and they kept on going saying, okay, like we have a place to live. We're not being paid salary or anything else, but like maybe he'll come through. And he scammed him. I mean, this is going to be a reoccurring theme. It's just sucky to see. It is nice to see, though, the community response when it does happen.
I'll agree with that. I think a lot of people probably like to give, I guess, the players and staff credit. The people are kind of lying to them as well, of saying like, hey, it's just a banking issue. Like this guy was saying like, oh, there was like issues with transferring funds, you know, internationally, stuff like that. And so we had problems, but like we're getting them resolved. Like, don't worry about it. But like in the meantime, he took like their tournament winnings and stuff like that, wasn't paying them. And then, yeah, just still has not paid them, probably will not. We saw the situation, like you said, in Valorant. Another time with Phoenix One, when the guys who now they play for Noble, but they had the same situation. They weren't getting paid. Like they tried to like break their contracts and get out of it, and they were still owed money, and then they weren't paid that money. And so it really does just suck to see people come into the scene and then like take advantage of people like that. It just messes things up.
Yeah, hopefully there's not much resolve to be had here, but hopefully a learning lesson for everyone else out there aspiring to really be careful who you do trust. An unfortunate circumstance yet again in League of Legends. And everyone stay calm, okay? Don't get pissed, don't get peeved, because that's for us to do. It seems that late night shows just don't like video games. The latest one being Bill Maher on his late night show, whatever it's called. If you guys haven't seen the clip, we should have a video sometime soon. It was years ago where Jimmy Kimmel became kind of viral for calling out people who play video games. Now, years later, it seems that a lot of late night shows just are running out of material to joke and jab about. They see that Twitch is a hot topic, and they're like, yo, Bill, read off the teleprompter.
You think someone 80 is hopeless because they can't use an iPhone? Maybe the one who's hopeless is the one who can't stop using it. You think I'm out of it because I'm not on Twitch? Well, maybe I get Twitch, but I just think people watching other people play video games is a waste of fucking time.
As he went on to say that it was really effing stupid that people watch other people play video games for entertainment, which, like, if you just sit back for 2 seconds to realize what you are saying, you realize how dumb it sounds.
Right, like he's a person just sitting there talking that people, like he's a talk show host on a network, and a lot of Twitch streams are just basically talk shows on Twitch. Like, it's just one person talking to the camera and entertaining.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how do you not see the comparison there? But yeah, it's interesting how, like, I feel like every once in a while we have these people who just don't fully understand, come forward and make, jokes or like statements about video games and how like lame they are, or like how they're awful, or this, that, and the other, and then the internet just blows up over it.
I mean, and I respect it because that's the space we're in. I feel like if we're getting attacked, we deserve to, respond with maybe some own statements of our own, but of course, just the logic of Bill Maher. Ever since he said this, a lot of people out there posting pictures of him not only having a minority stake in the New York Mets baseball team, but also being at baseball games, watching grown men hit a ball with a piece of wood. Like, if you really want to go down to the base argument of anything out there, yeah, it sounds stupid, but if you find it entertaining, who are you to judge that if someone wants to watch another person in the top level of their craft play a video game, who wouldn't want to watch? I bet Bill Maher would love to watch a baseball player go to practice and do what he does best. It's a form of entertainment. So it's crazy that someone that experienced and that old doesn't understand any better.
It felt like a cheap shot of like, oh, like we're gonna, like the classic boomer joke of like, oh, they're always on their phone, they're always watching TV, they're always playing video games. And it's like, okay, like we get it. Like, you've been saying the same joke for 30 years. Like, get over it,
Yeah, it's like the whole, I mean, it happens. You're right. Every other month, it's like, gamers don't have sex. Like, It was literally an MLB player. His name was Aubrey Huff, I believe we talked about. And then everyone got mad about that because we're just like other regular human beings, okay?
Right.
Just because we enjoy playing things virtually doesn't mean that we don't do the things that normal humans do. So it's ridiculous. What do you guys think? Bill Maher calling out people who watch other people play video games on Twitch. Likely, if you're watching this, he was talking about you and us. So what do you guys think? And for some reason, if you guys are watching this esports podcast, we want to let you all know we are not esports certified. So if you guys want to click away, we do not blame you, but please stick around. Maybe leave a comment down below. Yes, this past week, there was a huge debate around the good old esports certificate. There was a list of board members attached to this who I'm sure you guys would recognize a lot of those big names. I don't think it's a scam. I don't think it's a sham. I think it's something that was poorly executed at launch that actually needs a lot of improvements. And yes, if you guys were on Twitter for an entire day, at any point this week, you probably saw someone making jokes about the questions on this so-called exam, which is meant to increase inclusion and diversity in the esports scene. And some people saw it as doing the exact opposite.
Yeah, I think it's easy to take this in two directions. Like, you can either be optimistic about it or pessimistic of saying like, hey, like maybe these guys were just, and this is what I think I believe, of like maybe these guys were just wanting to make the scene better. They're wanting to stop people who are just trying to, get into esports for a quick buck and like get in. Maybe it would stop some of the stories of people who, are scamming other people and starting up organizations, this, that, and the other. And they had good intentions moving forward, but like you said, poorly executed. Or you look at it as like, oh, these guys were charging $400 for this esports certification. Like, they were just trying to make money off of the growing scene and trying to make a certification that no one asked for, no one needed, no one thought it was executed well. Like, the questions didn't make any sense. Like, overall, it just didn't. It was like, what's going on? And what are these advisors for if this is how it, like, did you even talk to your advisors, or did they just, like, do they just look like whatever they're called, like the people that, like, a good look for them to have all these advisors on board?
Wow, I can feel the anger in you. I think that was pretty well put. And yeah, it does make you wonder a lot of things. Where did that $400 price point come from? Heck no, I'm not paying that. I can't remember the last time I paid $400 for anything, and that's a lot of money. All right, an esports degree, you should never get one. You don't need one at this point in time. That'll cost you thousands of dollars, but I'm not going to pay $400 for a certificate that is asking me about the ratio of soft drinks and somehow saying I am now more qualified than the man or woman next to me. That part pisses me off. And it does make you wonder, though, with all of these people attached to a project, of which some are very prominent names, did they have an eye on the exam?
Right.
Where were their hands on, or did they just see the overall TLDR and think, okay, this is good for the space? Did they actually have eyes on the questions, to which they have now offered refunds for? They are obviously going to be trying making fixes to the process, which I do respect, but I certainly understand a lot of the backlash around all of this.
Yeah, it's hard when you see like some of these people that were on the board and you see their organizations who have posted job postings for maybe an internship that wasn't paid, or you had to do a lot of work for it that maybe doesn't line up with like what people would think an intern would have to do. And then you start to think, okay, so someone has to apply for this internship that might not be paid, or you have to do the same amount as a full-time worker. But to have a shot at getting that position as an intern, you're going to have to take this esports certification exam and pay $400 and get certified. And it's like, man, that just seems like one more barrier to entry. And they did come forward and clarify, like, hey, like, we didn't want this to be a barrier by any means. Like, we wanted to offer scholarships and, like, be able to pay for it for anyone who couldn't pay for it. But still, $400 is a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, we will see what changes they make for the esports certificate. Until then, if you guys are esports certificate verified, certified, you should leave a comment down below letting us know. All right. Cheers. Next one. And a big old story this past week, which I'm sure there will be updates on. The man who just took down Twitch that, well, people did probably not see coming. That's going to be all the way back to 2016, times of the CSGO gambling scene with CSGO Shuffle, and the person who did not properly disclose his ownership of the website he was playing on, that being Phantom Lord, to be safe. These are accusations. There is a lot of videos out there of what they claim to be evidence of him rigging the site and winning tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in skins on his site, of which he did not tell people, hey, I am a partial owner and operator of this website. He took Twitch to lawsuit after they actually just terminated his contract with Twitch because they claim he breached his contract after these wrongdoings. Now that lawsuit has been wrapped up years later. I mean, it's been a crazy lengthy process, of which during that he said he wants $35 million minimum in damages, to which we now find out he has beat Twitch. He has won the lawsuit for a grand old total of $20,000, just over $700.
Was it worth it, man? Like, I just don't know. Like, multiple years, you only end up with, what'd you say, $20,000?
Just over 20 grand, yep.
And you wanted $35 million out of this. You probably still don't have a Twitch contract, right? Like,
I don't know if he's going to get that back.
Right. Like, I don't know if like, after you take down Twitch in court, like, yeah, you got $20K, but, like, are you going to get your contract back? Can you still stream on Twitch, or, like, what? Like, what's going to happen after this? And so all I wonder, was that worth it?
Yeah, and hopefully going to be doing an interview as well ourselves, have some questions for him if that is still lined up. There's a lot of questions ongoing because he was very, very vocal during the lawsuit about that $35 billion. He was equally vocal after the lawsuit ended, saying, we won, we beat Twitch. This is a big win for smaller streamers out there who might also be mistreated. A lot of questions wondering, will this give any help to someone like Doc, who apparently has potential legal battles against the platform as well? But yeah, to your point, we do not know how many legal fees, I mean, he accrued over this lengthy lawsuit. I imagine it would be maybe more than 20 grand. But where's the real victory here? The most common question we got when we posted about this was the percentage meme about the rigged website, but more so it was it worth it? You know, was it worth potentially ruining your career for all of this to also then, of course, go take on Twitch? That's the one I'm lingering question I'm very, very curious about. Like, if you could go back, would you do it all over again?
Right. And I agree. I'm just curious to see where so was it worth it? And now where are you going to go from this point forward?
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to try to stay in the space in some capacity? Are you going to move to YouTube? Like, what are you going to do at the end of the day with this information? Or do you try to, like, I mean, maybe I'm trying to think in my head, like, I just want a lawsuit against Twitch. So I try to, like, finagle that into, like, hey, come to me if you have a problem with Twitch. Like, I'll give you advice onto how to, like, handle them in court or something like that. Like, I feel like someone could finagle that.
Or like beating Twitch and then going back to the same platform.
Right. Interesting.
But we'll see where he goes in the future. But yeah, it seems that the overwhelming majority of people out there, despite his victory in the lawsuit, still see what they saw before. And so we'll see what Phantom Lord's future is. Will it be on Twitch after beating them in a lawsuit? We shall find out. And finally, we got some more transparency from Twitch starting up their own new series called Let's Chat. They address some very big issues, which we will keep on talking about. One that you and me have very much dove into. Words are hard sometimes. They've actually finally addressed the hot tub meta in a very, very lengthy response, and a response that no matter how they worded it was probably going to be under fire. And yes, it was just that happened.
So, hot tub meta. I think there's a couple people in chat that is asking about the hot tub meta. And we're going to talk about it. So, we understand at Twitch that this has been getting a lot of attention from the community lately, and we have been watching closely. Our nudity and attire policy does allow bathing suits in an appropriate context, and hot tubs do fall under that criteria. However, what has not changed is the sexually suggestive and explicit content is not allowed under the guidelines, under the TOS, and Twitch will take action when that is reported to us. So I understand that people are upset about some of the content that might be, out there. And I think there's two things I want to take away from this. First and foremost, the teams are watching this. They are looking at it. The nudity and attire policy, you can go and review it. It does allow bathing suits, right, in a proper context. Sexually explicit and sexually suggestive content is not okay. And again, action will be taken if it's reported to.
Yeah, I don't think anything they could have said would have gone well. Like, at no point, like, someone would have been upset. But he seemed to, when he was addressing the issue, he's like, we're aware of it. And just so you know, like, our, what you wear, I forget what it's called, policy has not changed. Like, you're still allowed to wear bathing suits in an appropriate context. And hot tubs, like, technically are an appropriate context for that. But our, like, sexual and nudity policy has not changed. And so, like, if anything is suggestive and it gets reported to us, then, like, we'll take action if it is, against that policy. And it's like, man, you didn't really answer anything. Like, that doesn't really help us because people are putting, fake tubs in their rooms and, like, floating around in it. And, like, yes, that's appropriate context. But when you're, like, bending over and writing on a board or doing yoga to get the right angles, like, isn't that context you were talking about, that sexual context?
Yeah, I'm not sure what we expected from this. This is about the best I think I could have expected. The fact he said hot tubs, boom, allowed by the rules. Bathing suits, boom, still allowed by the rules, unless they push that line of then being sexually suggestive or explicit. Right. And if you report it, we will. I mean, we will get. We'll actually take action. Which, to his point, I mean that is fair. I think the main overall issue for a lot of the complainers out there, I understand a lot of people are like, do your own thing, whatever. If you want to stream in a bathing suit, you do you. I understand that point. I think the majority response on the other side is we don't want to see Twitch develop into that kind of platform, especially with such a young, childlike audience, to which DJ Wheat responded saying, hey, you can always say you're not interested. If I have a kid who's going on a website, Twitch, and all of a sudden the front page are all just chatting, there's a bunch of girls riding, or guys who have now taken on the trend, who are riding hot dog wiener inflatables in a seemingly very, to me, sexually suggestive bathing suit. My kid's probably not, I don't have a kid, but my kid's probably not going to think, I'm going to click these three dots and say, not interested. The problem with me lies in the sexualization of this platform, as it so seems, and where is the line? Where does a bathing suit or a hot tub or an inflatable wiener cross the line of being sexually suggestive?
Right, and I think that part about him saying, like, oh, just don't watch it, like, just say you're not interested, that goes both ways, too. It's like, yes, I do agree with that, actually. Like, people are getting upset about things that don't necessarily involve them entirely, of like, hey, you could just avoid it, like, just don't watch it. Like, why are you getting bothered by this girl making a lot of money from it? And it's like, okay, well, it's because we don't want the platform to be sexualized. And, like, there's a lot of people who are in that same category of just chatting who have a problem with it, of, like, now I feel sexualized because people are coming in and expecting me to do that same thing, or, like, asking why I don't do it. And so a lot of people have suggested, like, hey, just make a different category. Like, just make a category that maybe is age-locked or something like that, where you can go to just chatting and see the people who are sitting on their couch, in their PJs and just talking to you. Or you can go to, I don't know, the hot tub section.
The adult content section
right, and
on
people
Twitch?
just go in there, and it's the same stuff. You're not changing what's allowed by any means, but you're making a separate category for it where people are, like, aware of what they're getting into when they go to that section.
And again, when it comes time for what breaks the rules on certain platforms, Cutie Cinderella uploaded, I believe, a video talking about the just chatting section, which got taken down. Now, I think it was actually her thumbnail which got struck and her video which got flagged for sexual content. So it's very clear that different platforms are treating this new move, this new meta, very differently. Obviously, YouTube is a much bigger platform compared to
But
Twitch.
that's interesting because YouTube has some weird things on it
Yes,
too.
YouTube definitely. I mean, dude, let's not get into it.
Right.
But the ads I have seen on YouTube, we have literally seen the worst of the worst get by on YouTube.
Right.
Those are ads, though, not streams. So, I mean, I don't know. It's such a complicated situation. So many people have their opinions. We're open to all of them, but we certainly stand on we personally seem to stand on the fact that something has to be addressed. It hasn't been quite yet, but we're open to anything. What do you guys think about the ongoing Twitch hot tub meta? We hope you guys all enjoy the Esports Rewind podcast. If you guys want to do us a favor and follow us on social media or follow us here on the channel, we greatly appreciate that. But until next week, we hope you guys all enjoy your days, all right? Drink up, stay hydrated, stay focused. Do you have anything to say about it? Do you guys see anything?
How do they look?
How
Pretty
does-
good?
How does mine look mostly? I know you guys probably saw mine first. Hunter, you want to show these fine lads and ladies the door?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get out of here, guys. Till next time.
Until next time. Okay, take it. Oh, bye.